Hey there, good morning everyone. It's morning here in Minnesota. It's drizzling outside and it's beautiful, but this is the perfect time to create some jewelry. So today I'm going to show you how to make this pair of earrings. So I've made one and then we'll make its matching partner. And to do that, you're going to need 16 gauge copper wire, the other half of the ear hook, so they're partner in the pair, 3 jump rings. These are 4 mm jump rings, 2 4 mm roundels, and then one 10 mm roundel. I bought this at Michael's and you get 4 different sizes in the strand. So I'm using the largest size for the center drop and then the smallest size for the drops on either side of the earring. So we basically will be using 3 drops per earring. And then you're going to need 3 head pins. In this case, I'm using 2 balled head pins that I made and this knotted head pin, again 3 that I made, but you can use any head pins as long as they hold the beads in place. The tools you will need are a pair of needle nose pliers, 6-step loop making pliers, flush cutters, and a ruler if you've not already measured out your wire. So to start, we are going to take the 16 gauge copper wire and use the smallest step in the loop making pliers that you don't have the wire sticking out, and rotate your wrist away from you twice until you form a loop. And then I'm going to flip the wire and in the same direction form another loop on the other side. So again, rotate your wrist, form the other loop, so you have both the loops facing that side. And I kind of pictured a seesaw, so if I had something here it would just seesaw. Okay, so here is what we're trying to do. We have just created these 2 loops on either side. Okay, now we're going to form this bend here, and so we're going to take the 4th step. So 1 2 3 4, this 4th step, we're going to pull the wire in between the 3rd and 4th step to make sure that it's right up against the loop, and then we're going to roll our wrist so the wire folds up to form like a shepherd's hook, and we're going to touch it right there. And then we're going to flip this and do the same on this side. So once we have both of these hooks facing the same direction made, we are going to hold the wire in between the 5th and 6th step, and around the last step we are going to fold to make this round right here. There we go. So that gives us the basic shape for the earring. Now at this stage you can attach the beads, but I'm going to hammer this to give it a little more texture, and this is totally optional. So if you're going to want to hammer your piece, you're going to also need a steel bench block and a jeweler's hammer or a ball peen hammer, and we're going to just gently hammer around it to give it a little more of that shine and texture. Watch your fingers while you're hammering and gently let the weight of the hammer do most of the work. Okay. And because it changes its shape a little bit, I flip it over, and then with the flat side I just hammer that down a little bit. Okay, and like with the jump ring, to get this closer you just twist and get those pieces closer to each other, and you could also use your pliers to help you do that. I have the frame done. Now we're going to make the drops. So to do that, I will start with the one in the center. You're going to get that onto your head pin, and then you're going to use the 2nd step right up against the bead. So you hold it right there, and then we're going to loop the wire around that second step, but you're not going to wrap it just yet. You're just forming the initial loop. Then you will slip this onto the earring frame. So it's in that center big hoop right there. And then you can use your pliers to hold it, or you could just hold this between your thumb and index finger, and you will form 3 wraps. Once your wraps are formed, you will take your flush cutters and snip off the excess wire. There we go. And like with any other snip, when you cut off the wire, just use your needle nose pliers to tuck that excess wire in there. So you have your big drop attached. And now we're going to do the same with the smaller drops. But for these, we are going to make the loop and then slide it onto the earring frame. So I'm taking my head pin, sliding on the bead, and again, with here I'm using the smallest step. I'm going to wrap it around that smallest step of the plier and form 3 loops, 3 wraps, and snip off the excess wire and tuck. Okay. And then we're going to do that for the second one as well. So slip the bead onto the head pin, and again loop the wire around the smallest step and form 3 wraps around it. And snip off the excess wire and tuck the edge in. Okay. Now to get that onto the frame, I'm going to twist this loop like a jump ring. Send this to the right hand to the back, left hand to the front, slip on the bead, and then close out the loop again. And I want to make sure it's touching so that the bead doesn't fall off. Right? Okay. We do the same on this side. Twist that wire, slip on the bead, and then twist it back into place. Okay. So we have the base of the earring done. Now we're going to attach the 3 jump rings up here so that we can attach it to the ear wire. So you're going to, at this stage, if you have a second pair of pliers, that might come in handy. I'm going to use my bent nose pliers to open the jump ring, slip the earring on, and close the jump ring. And then we're going to do that on this side too, because we want to center it for the ear wire to hang in the center. So again, open the jump ring, put it onto the second loop, and close the jump ring. Okay. And then the third jump ring, we're going to connect those 2 jump rings and close it. So we're going to connect both these jump rings using the third jump ring. And then we're going to hook on the ear wire. Make sure your hammered side is facing the same side as the front of your ear wire, and close that out. I love how these turned out. They're so dainty and elegant. And if you enjoyed making these with me, please like and subscribe. And I have videos posted every week. with different wire wrapping techniques, so we can make jewelry together.